Hello, I'm Bruce Timm, one of the producers of the movie you're watching, and to my right is...
Paul Dini, the screenwriter and one of the other producers of the movie. And to my right...
I'm Kurt Gaeta, the director of the show, and basically directing some of the pre-production work, and to my right...
Glenn Murakami, one of the other producers, art director.
Right. So, here we go. Where do we start?
Batman Beyond, Return of the Joker. The big video that we wanted to do to tie in with our TV series.
Yeah, this came about, as often happens, just kind of like out of the blue. We were deep in the production of the Batman TV series, and we got a call from the home video people who basically told us they would like to do a Batman Beyond long-form direct-to-video. And we were all excited. It's like, oh, great. But how do we do it? Because, we were already, like I said, we were knee-deep in Batman Beyond pre-production for the TV series. We were just gotten the pickup to do the second season and didn't want to overtax our crew who were already spread pretty thin. So we kind of cast about a bunch of different scenarios on how to get the direct-to-video done at the same time. And fortunately, as we're going to say a lot during this commentary, TMS really saved us. TMS is one of the top-notch Japanese animation studios in Japan, and they had worked with us before on the Batman and Superman animated series, doing both pre-production and animation for us, and we were hoping that they would be able to help us out with this video, and that way we would not have to overtax our TV crew. And as luck would have it, it turned out to be the case. TMS was available, and we're excited to do it. And so we took Kurt off of the TV series and promoted one of our other storyboard artists to take over his crew to do the TV series. And Kurt, we knew from past experiences, also like one of our top-notch storyboard artists before he became a director, so we were hoping that he would be able to handle a lot of the storyboards himself. In fact, he storyboarded the sequence you're looking at right now. Mm-hmm. And of course, the bang-up job, spectacular. Yeah. And then TMS really helped out a lot, and they storyboarded about half of the movie. Kurt and a number of our TV crew, storyboard guys, boarded the rest of the movie. And it just kind of took off from there. Again, just trying to...
Look at those girls. They're so cute.
Oh, they're awesome.
Shane Glines designed those.
Yeah, anytime you have your strong, strapping, masculine hero getting his butt kicked by a couple of girls, it's always a good thrill.
Yeah.
Another James Bond thing here. Yeah, it's a Bambi Thumper. Anyhow, so yeah, these girls are great. Shane Glines was one of our top character designers on the TV series, and we somehow just managed to add this onto his workload as well, and he and Glenn and I collaborated on the character designs for the movie. And one of the challenges of doing this was that we had done so many Joker-themed characters. The Joker gang is a gang of characters that appears actually in the TV series, and we've done so many hundreds of those characters over the course of the series. It was really hard to come up with new design theories and to do something fresh and new that we hadn't done before. And so all of these new Joker characters all have individual characteristics and motifs. Mm-hmm. What's interesting about the Dee-Dees are that they. The initial concept was Raggedy Ann girls. That's why they have the yarn hair, and they're like hippie Raggedy Ann girls. They have hot pants and vinyl boots and the floppy hats. So they're like 1960s flower child hippie girls. What was really interesting is that when Glenn and I went to the Orient to oversee some of the pre-production from Japan, there was a fashion craze going on in Japan at the time called the Yamamba look. And it's very similar to the way the Dee-Dees look. It was girls wearing these giant platform Frankenstein boots, and with brightly colored hair and pale faces, and it was weird. It was like we were in Japan being surrounded by Dee-Dees everywhere. But it was interesting.
The Dee-Dees actually, if I remember correctly, Bruce, you'd come up with an idea for a villain way back when we were doing the first season of Batman called Double Debbie.
Double Debbie, yeah.
And just two twin sisters who just completed each other's thoughts, and we never used them at the time. We just sort of hung on to them. So when we came up with the story, it was a good place to stick them in, change their name slightly, and that's where they came from. We don't throw away anything. We hold on to ideas for years.
That's right. When we run out of ideas, like, okay, well, what did we think of 5 years ago that we never did?
Yeah, who's got that napkin we wrote it down on one day over lunch? We eventually find it.
Now, Chucko, also one of the other members of the Joker gang, not this guy, the guy in the pink tutu with the, clown mask. He's this is another weird little in-joke. He's kind of inspired by our old Batman animated series producer, him. That's Chucko.
Yeah.
Eric Radomski. He went to a Halloween party of mine a number of years ago as this really demented clown called Sicko the Clown, and that kind of always stayed with us. We said we got to use Sicko the Clown in the show someday, and so we decided to make Eric into our Chucko.
Yeah, a little tribute to Eric there.
Yeah. Look at all that destruction. Oh boy, that's a good way to start a movie.
Yeah.
Bang, bang, bang.
That ain't coming out of my allowance.
There we go. Come on, titles. Oh, good. There
There they are.
And everything was so hectic on this production. We'd done so many. We were trying to do this movie and the TV series at the same time, and the schedule was so short that we've literally been putting the finishing touches on this movie just days ago. So this is like the first time we've actually seen the main titles stuck on the movie. We'll see what Glenn thinks of it because he hasn't even seen them yet. I'm going to wait for his comment.
I saw them. They're
Oh, you
fine.
did? Oh, okay.
Yeah.
He's always the pickiest one. Yeah, it looks good, huh?
Real nice.
The reason the titles look so simple is because we literally ran out of time. We had originally had an idea for a little bit more elaborate title sequence and just didn't have time to do it. But fortunately, we had the services of a really talented young computer animator named Ryan Woodward, who actually works in the Warner Brothers feature animation division, generated these titles for us literally like overnight last week. So, and they're simple, but they're effective. What's interesting is that when we were started to do the sound mix just a couple weeks ago, Glenn and I both kind of came to the realization that opening sequence is so loud and so exciting and so visual and so loud that at the time all we had was just white titles against a black slate. And we kind of liked it. It was like, it was nice to take kind of a breather at that point, before we get going in with all the rest of the carnage.
Should we talk about why we did this story?
Why did we do this story?
Yeah. Well, we wanted to do a big story, and ever since we started Batman Beyond, there's been a lot of interest from the fans who've been fans of the old show and the Batman character, as well as all the new fans who've just discovered the show. What happened in Bruce Wayne's past?
Yeah, that's the number one question is everybody said, what happened to Robin? Are you going to ever tell us what happened to Robin? And
this tells you.
Yeah.
We came up with a story. We had shot around a bunch of ideas, Glenn and Bruce and myself, mostly just sitting in a conference room for like 3 or 4 days straight and coming up with ideas and just shouting things out. And Bruce, you had a legal pad and you draw out devices and character attitudes and things. And we just kind of put it together at that point. And every day we'd come back and bring something new to the table and work out the story. One
of the things we didn't want to do on the TV series was we really resisted the impulse to just dust off all the old Batman villains and bring them into the future. But we knew for the long form video that we really needed something that was really like a mega stunt kind of thing to do. And so it was real natural to bring the Joker back. I mean, because he is, Batman's arch nemesis. And so it was a little bit of a challenge to figure out a way to actually bring him into the Batman Beyond world, and also bring some kind of resolution to the original Batman. I mean, you'll see in the course of this movie that we actually do explain what happened to the original Joker back in the original Batman the Animated Series days, and hopefully comes to a satisfying conclusion. And by the way, if you are watching this while listening to our director's comments, first you should stop right now.
Turn it off.
Take the DVD out. Go back to your menu and just push Start Movie. Turn this off because this is not the way to watch this movie. This is going to wreck all the plot points for you. There's our big red herring, Jordan Price. This was our most blatant cheat in the whole movie. We wanted to hide the identity of who the Joker actually is in this future world, and so we created this character, Jordan Price, who looks very much like the Joker intentionally, and he sounds exactly like the Joker because he's actually voiced by Mark Hamill, who plays the Joker for us. Anyhow, yeah, it's a real drastic cheat, but what the heck, we're going to do anything we can to mislead you.
Yeah.
So we were also really fortunate in that in that DC Comics had done that rather notorious event where they had actually killed off one of the earlier Robins in the comic books, where they had done this poll. They left it up to the comic book readers to, whether or not they should, the Joker should kill Robin or not. And of course, the fans voted to kill him because they're a bloodthirsty bunch. And so fortunately, that plays in our favor too for all the comic book fans who know the history of Batman. That we actually go out of our way to lead you to believe that in the past the Joker actually killed Robin. Yeah. So as again to misdirect your attention from who the Joker actually is.
Right.
But now this sequence here, I'm not positive. We haven't actually gotten any official confirmation on that, but this sequence actually looks very much like it was done in Korea by Coco, the animation studio that does our TV series. I have a feeling what happened is that TMS basically ran out of time and resources themselves in the course of doing this picture, and farmed out a number of sequences to Coco in the Orient. And fortunately, they gave it to some of their absolute top-notch animators. So, yeah. I mean, I can look at it with my trained eye and recognize the difference in styles, but hopefully most of the audience watching it won't be able to tell the difference. It actually blends very well with the Japanese animation.
Sure.
But yeah, Glenn and I were actually really relieved that this sequence came out really well. You notice the weird popping colors. This was an attempt to try to create like a real nightclub atmosphere. And in the past, we've done it with just putting colored gels over the scene. Well, this is all done digitally now, and so that's really not an option. So we decided to go with the popping color thing, and fortunately, it works. Otherwise, we would be really in trouble. Here we go, introducing the real Joker.
Real guy.
Ronnie Del Carmen's storyboard.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Ronnie Del Carmen, who was another Batman alumni from the old Batman the Animated Series days, who after leaving us went to go work at DreamWorks Features and. Had a little bit of time on his schedule, and again, we were so strapped for people on this. We said, Ronnie, would you please, do this short sequence for us? And he said, oh yeah, sure, I'd love to. And he did a great job.
Yeah.
But here we go, scary Joker. Let's talk a little bit about Mark as the Joker. This is one of the things we wanted to do with this Joker is we wanted to make him scarier and more menacing than the original Joker from the animated series, just so that we weren't just repeating ourselves. You'll notice that even in his look, he's much more. He's dark and sleek, and he's got those big Frankenstein fingers and the Hannibal Lecter slick back hair and red eyes. And so when Mark came in to do the vocal recording, he was. Right off the bat, he was just immediately going into his manic Joker mode, and we kept saying, "No, Mark, tone it down a little bit. He's scarier. He's quieter. He's still manic in a way, and he's still funny. He has funny lines, and he says weird, funny things. But it was constantly just trying to bring Mark down a little bit because Mark can just he can just go.
Yeah.
And I think to this day he still likes the old Joker better. He actually said that when we were doing looping. He's like, "Oh, I like the old Joker better. I don't want to do this quiet Joker." But I'm glad we did, because I think this is one of Mark's absolute best performances as the Joker. He's awesome.
He did the obligatory kill off the expendable henchman scene.
Of course.
Just like Star Trek, he's wearing a red shirt too. So
I like the sick joke of Joker having the orange safety tip on the tip of the gun.
Like, it's child safe.
That's right. It's not a real gun. It's a toy because it has an orange safety tip on it.
Yeah.
Oh, right.
Dead.
Yeah. Sick humor.
Yeah. Yeah, we should also probably mention that our friends at Home Video were a little bit disturbed by this scene. There was actually, after the Joker shot Bonk the first time, there were a number of scenes of Bonk's corpse in the foreground, twitching in his death throes. And it was a bit too much for our friends at Home Video, so they asked us to take it out, and we reluctantly agreed. But, in the long run, a lot of the things that the Home Video people asked us to take out to tone the movie down, I'm really glad they did, because this is some pretty strong medicine in places, and that would have been one extra thing to put it over the top.
Yeah, there's lots of gruesome activity to come.
But, the actor playing the character Ghoul is a wonderful actor, a young actor named Michael Rosenbaum, who's done a lot of voices for us on the TV series. And one day when he was in the recording studio, he just started doing this Christopher Walken impersonation, and just had us on the floor. It was just so funny. We said, we've got to write that into the show someday. We've got to have him do that vocal inflection in the series somewhere. And so when this came up, we said, oh, let's get Michael to play, to do his Walken while he's doing Ghoul. And he did, and I think he's hilarious. And we need all the humor we can get in this movie.
Yeah.
There we go.
Kevin Conroy also did a great job. He's been with us from the very beginning as Batman through all his different incarnations.
Yeah, for almost 10 years now. Actually, I think our entire vocal cast just did a spectacular job. I mean, we have a tendency to take Kevin and Will Friedle, for granted sometimes because they're with us every day in every episode and everything, but they bring so much to the series. They're so believable. And so, Kevin, to me, he will always be Batman. I mean, I can't think of anybody else as Batman besides Kevin. And Will is just, he's a really bright, super talented young guy and couldn't be nicer. Yep. Just a sweetheart. But they just acted their hearts out in this movie. They just did a great job.
That creature there, Wolf, he's sort of a human, what we call a splicer hybrid. He's had his genes mixed with a laughing hyena. And originally when they were designing the character, I think, Glenn, you and Shane were going back and forth on what he was supposed to look like, and you'd come up with a bunch of designs. And at one point, I called this taxidermist down in Texas and said, "Do you have a hyena to send us?" And he sent us a big striped hyena head. And I was hoping you'd use it as a reference, but everybody was too disgusted to look at it, so took it home and hung it in the guest room.
Yes, Paul has a thing for hyenas, as we all know.
Yeah. Originally, it was a dog, but then you said, "How could you create a character like this?" And I was calling him Wolf. I thought, make him a dog. Let's not do a hyena for once. And he said, "He's got to be a hyena." And I said, "Oh, okay, well, all right." There he is.
This is the first time Bruce has laid eyes on the Joker.
Gasp.
Can't be. It's going to be really interesting to see how people react to the movie. I mean, we as of this moment, we have not actually seen this movie with an audience. We've only seen it amongst ourselves. And I personally have watched the movie over and over again in the last couple of weeks, so I don't know what the heck I'm looking at anymore. I can't tell. I mean, I think it's good. I think it's really actually quite awesome. But there was a time last week when we were doing the sound mix on a couple of the more intense sequences where I just kind of stopped and thought, oh my gosh, what have we done? Is this too much? It's like everything is just so big and so intense, and the music is awesome. Again, I have to say this. I'm sure we're going to say this in the commentary, but Chris Carter, the talented young composer who did our score for us, just did an amazing job under, again, really adverse conditions. I mean, right up until the last minute when we were doing the sound mix, we were mixing the last day. He literally drove to the studio to hand deliver the last cue because he was mixing right up until the last minute doing his own sound mix. But he originally told me, even early on when we started talking about the movie, that he wanted to do a little bit more of an orchestral sound than what we traditionally do in the TV series. The TV series is almost all completely rock music and synthesizer. And, he figured, well, since we have a little bit bigger budget, we can afford a small orchestra. And I said, okay, sure, whatever. And he ended up using the orchestra a lot more than I expected. And but fortunately, he did a really good fusion of the two styles. I mean, it's a really, really interesting mix of rock and orchestral music. And it's very, very effective. And what's interesting about this movie is that it is, even though it's Batman the Animated Series, or Batman Beyond the Return of the Joker, this particular story is almost half Batman Beyond and half Batman the Animated Series, so the music reflects that as well. And so it really kind of provides a real strong link between the two series. So where are we going now? Oh, it's a driving scene. That's okay. We need these little quiet scenes.
I wanted to point out the Jolly Jack candy bar car.
Oh, Ted Blackman, yes. That was another joy of this production was...
Working with Ted again.
Yeah, Ted Blackman was our original background designer for the original Batman the Animated Series starting way back in 1990. And again, he had left us and he was at Disney for a while. And just through a weird fluke, he ended up back at Warner Brothers Animation at about the time that that we got the order to do this movie. And so he was available to us. So it was great. We hadn't worked with Ted in about 5-6 years. And it was really fun to have him back and contributing designs for us, as well as designing the Joker's hideout, the Jolly Jack factory, and a number of other locations. He designed most of the major vehicles in the series, as well as for instance, the Jolly Jack candy bar vehicle. It's really neat seeing old-fashioned Ted designs in the Batman Beyond world. It's really interesting because Ted has a real unique design sense. It's a real interesting combination of wacky and functional. So Here's our new Commissioner Gordon. As fans of the series, probably are aware of Stockard Channing played Commissioner Gordon in our TV series, and when the video came up, for some reason or other, she just wasn't available, so we decided to recast. And Angie Harmon was a name that came up, and we were fans of hers from Law and Order, the TV series she's on. And so, unfortunately, turned out she was a really big fan of the show, so that was great. And even though I don't think she's even 30 yet. She's a very young woman, but she has that real deep, husky, Texas voice. So we thought, okay, that just might work as Commissioner Gordon. And even though it took us a little while to get used to it, just because we're so used to Stockard, I think she makes a great Commissioner Gordon. She does a great job. Another interesting thing that people probably aren't aware of is that in animation, we actually record the voices first. A lot of people think for some reason that the voices are added afterwards, but all the dialogue is recorded first, and we storyboard and animate based on the dialogue tracks. What's interesting about Angie in particular is that we've actually never met her face to face.
Right.
She was in the midst of shooting the latest season of Law and Order when we did this, and so we did all of her dialogue recording on a phone patch to a studio in New York on her lunch hour from Law and Order. In the best of all possible worlds, it's always best to have your entire cast in the room at the same time so they can play off of each other. But sometimes it's just not possible. Like, as for instance, Angie and Dean Stockwell recorded all his lines separately from the rest of the cast, and Melissa Joan Hart did all her stuff separately from the rest of the cast. And it's kind of a minor miracle that it all kind of comes out correct,
Right.
We traditionally do a lot of ADR dubbing, looping, after the fact, because a lot of times the animation will come back just a little bit different than the way it was recorded, and we'll have to go in and change things. And also in a show of this nature where there's so much action, there's always a lot of oofs and ughs that we have to throw in, so we do a lot of looping.
I know about all your other major enemies, but you never mentioned him. He was the biggest, wasn't he?
It wasn't a popularity contest. He was a psychopath, a monster.
So how is
One thing I'd like to mention is we're deep in a section that was storyboarded by Bob Smith. He's one of our most talented board artists. He actually did probably up to a quarter of the storyboard of the video. And we'll probably keep going along and mention who's doing different sequences. I mean, sometimes you actually, it's almost like picking, characters or actors even for sequences. And Bob's he's one of the best all-around storyboarders.
I was going to say, he's good at action, he's good at acting and drama and everything.
Yeah, this was a tough scene to board because when I wrote it, it really is setting up the split between the two of them. It also goes into Terry's reason why he wants to stay being Batman, even though he doesn't really have a reason to. And there's a lot of drama just under the surface, and Bob's staging brought that out perfectly.
There's also a temptation in a dialogue scene of this length when two characters are just standing there talking. You want to kind of keep it alive by cutting all the time. And this is something that Kurt and I and Bob had to work with on this, was that, resist the impulse to keep cutting, because you're going to lessen the drama that way, and you don't want the characters waving their arms around. Again, that's another temptation, is to have the characters overact. And but the dialogue is so restrained, we had to go back in and make sure that the acting, the visual acting was also very restrained. This, I think, also is another Coco sequence, but it's a good scene. I remember loving this scene when I first read it in the script. It was like, wow, this is great stuff.
What you want. None of you ever did.
Except that you want Terry to go.
Yeah.
He's running away. Fine, be that way.
Why so mean to him, Bruce? I don't know, Ace.
Oh, here we are inside the refrigerator.
Another quiet scene.
Yeah, we need this quiet scenes because this movie is pretty rock'em sock'em from beginning to end. So,
Also, for people who don't know or have forgotten, Terry does have a family, and he's there every so often.
Yeah, that's one thing. We were talking about that the other day. As we really didn't reestablish a lot of this stuff for people who haven't seen the TV series. So. Anybody who hasn't watched the show might be a little bit lost, who Terry is and who Commissioner Gordon is and all this stuff. But
we just didn't have time.
Yeah, we didn't have time. That's another thing. The movie was always budgeted to be 70 minutes long, and our first cut of the storyboard It was over by how much, Kurt?
Yeah,
But
by 14 minutes.
14 minutes. So there were huge chunks of the story that we had to like just cut out. I mean, we tried to nickel and dime it too. We tried to just shorten scenes here and there, and
had to take out something almost
writer
everywhere.
got carried away again. Well, there was stuff. Yeah, it was a real fun story to write. So I went in and added sequences, and really wanted to play out the mystery and everything. But what's fun in the script is not necessarily going to translate on the screen, especially when you've got real tight time parameters.
There were a lot of good scenes that we hated to cut.
Yeah.
But
there were definitely.
We just did not have the time.
Nope.
Even in this sequence, there was kind of some dirty dancing with the D's that I hated to cut out.
Oh, that's
but
right.
It was like 50 feet straight. Yeah, and it's better without.
Ultimately, a lot of those cuts work better for the picture because they just move everything along faster. I mean, that was one of the things that we've discovered over the years of doing these shows is that. Just when you think, I can't possibly cut out another 2 minutes out of this show or this movie, it's like the more you cut things out, somehow the better the whole picture gets overall. It's like, that you find that there's a reason for these things, but
sometimes you don't miss it.
Yeah,
it's gone.
I'd forgotten about that. I'd forgotten about their dirty dancing scene. Yeah,
I had too because. Christopher asked me to write a little blurb for the CD, so I just took a chance and said, well, the dance scene he put in for the Dee Dee's just as great. And then I saw the picture and I was like, oh, no Dee Dee dance scene. Although he does give them some great musical cues when they're beating up on Batman at the beginning and at the end of the picture. So.
The creepy scene.
Oh, yeah.
Joker invades the Batcave. There's something just wrong about that.
I know. Yeah, but this is the one you just break all the rules with. This one, it's the ultimate what if.
Yeah, that's true, kind of. Yeah, we push a lot of really obvious buttons, but it's like, why not?
Yeah.
Poor Bruce. I was mentioning to I don't remember who it was the other day, Dan Reba, one of our other directors or somebody, that this scene is really interesting. That Bruce doesn't even put up a fight when the Joker comes into the room, and it's almost like. He's been expecting the Joker, and it's almost like he feels guilty for what happened to the Joker in the past, so he's not even putting up a fight. Because otherwise, it's like, that's just a little bit of gas. Why wouldn't Bruce, fight back? But it's like, it's almost like he's resigned to it.
The door's even open down into the cave.
Yeah, that's true. That's a creepy image.
Yeah.
No, here comes some more fighting. Ow, that hurt.
It was her.
They're so cute.
Melissa did a great job with both of them. She had to record every line twice, virtually, every grunt and every hit.
Yeah.
Playing both characters.
More mayhem.
Breaking stuff.
Out that hurt.
Don't know why the boss wants a drug like you out of the way, but hey.
Let's see.
There's Eric again.
That's not Eric. Eric Radomski is
We didn't mean it, Eric. We love you.
Sweet guy. We love him to pieces.
I know.
It's only vaguely suggested by Eric. Eric has a lot more hair than that. Poor Dana.
Yeah.
That's one of the things we actually regret. Again, the movie is only so long, and you can't put in everything in that you'd like. But we really wanted to somehow resolve Dana's story in here because she basically disappears from the story at this point. You never see her again. Poor kid. She's Terry's trusted, loyal girlfriend, and he's always ditching her to go out and be Batman. And here she gets beat up for her trouble and disappears for the rest of the movie. But poor kid. Ouch. Yeah, we actually had to tint a few of these scenes because of our popping color scheme thing didn't work on some shots, so we had to go back in and optically put in some colors over the entire scene. But I think overall it kind of works. It's kind of neat.
Yeah.
I think it really helps the scene a lot because it kind of creates a
This is the first time I saw it this way. Yeah, it really looks good.
Just finish him.
That was originally supposed to be a soft drink machine, like a 3-story tall Slurpee machine that people were drinking out of the bottom. But it just evolved into a giant lava lamp, actually a better design element. So there were lines about people drinking or something, and we just took it all out.
Yeah, the lava lamp again was something that we wanted to put into the main title sequence of the Batman Beyond TV series, and they actually shot some footage of a lava lamp with a solarized filter on it. And for one reason or another, we never did use it, but I remembered it, and we said, hey, that'd be kind of cool if this is a big giant lava lamp. And whatever. There's Rachel Lee Cook.
Doing a cameo.
A little tiny cameo. Hi, Rachel.
There's a bigger part in the weekly show, but just a small role here.
Yeah, it's kind of odd to hire somebody like Rachel Lee Cook to come in and do 4 lines, but, whatever.
She's a good sport. She likes the show.
This is one of my favorite sequences here. Just the music is really, really intense and really emotional, and I don't know, I love this bit. And the scene where he actually gets to the manor and sees the dog lying there. He's like, oh, Ace, don't hurt the dog. But this sequence came out great. I mean, I'm overall really happy with the whole movie. I mean, I just, again, I can't tell. Sometimes I'm watching and I'm just thinking, God, everything is just so much. There's just so much of everything. The story is so intense and the music's so intense and the dialogue and everything. It's just like, boy, is it overkill or is it just right?
No, it rocks.
Okay.
Very reminiscent of Rebirth.
Oh yeah, that was an intentional thing too. This is it's kind of a coda to the pilot film for Batman Beyond. Fans of this show know exactly what we're talking about. When he goes into the Batcave and he sees the graffiti on the floor saying "ha ha ha," that's exactly what supposedly a Joker gang did as they murdered Terry's dad, and it turned out it wasn't the Joker's. But so this is like really horrible deja vu for Terry. And of course here we made the ha ha ha's red, which didn't even really occur to me until I was looking at the picture like last week. I thought, wow, that actually looks almost like blood. And, it's not blood, but it's like, well, it's effective that way. Mm-hmm. This is horrible. This is a horrible sequence. Poor Bruce, he's been poisoned. It's creepy. We oversaturated the sound on his gasp there to hopefully make the audience jump. But man, we just love pushing those buttons.
Kevin did a great job.
Kevin is awesome. He never gets enough credit. He is a brilliant actor. We've been very fortunate to have him as Batman all these years, and he's dynamite. Yeah, this is a horrible moment here because Terry doesn't even know what he's loading in there, and he thinks, "Oh my, did I just kill him or what?"
That's scary.
It's a horrible sequence. It's like, oof.
Yeah, the picture is a horror movie
Very
on
intense.
from now for the next about 15 minutes.
And upcoming is probably the weirdest sequence in the whole movie.
Oh, yeah.
This is the scene you wanted.
This is the scene. I mentioned this at a story meeting with you guys early on. I said, oh, it'd be cool if after Bruce was, poisoned, if Ace was watching cartoons, while he's recuperating, laying there on the couch. And I think it's funny.
I think it's great.
I don't know if it's going to totally throw people out of the movie or what. I mean, I think it's
like somebody recorded over this, if they buy the video.
Listen to this part. This is really cool. When Terry says, how you doing, killer? In the background, you'll hear the...
How you doing, killer?
I wish I were dead. I mean, that was an accident. When we were queuing that clip up under the picture, it just happened to fall there. And Joe Gall, the editor, and I were just dying. We thought, oh, that's just too perfect.
Bob Clampett, Hair Ribbon.
Was it
great old
Scribner?
cartoon. Yeah.
Rod Scribner was the animator of that scene, yeah. Of the original scene, yeah. One of my favorites.
Yep.
Who suggested that? Tom?
Tom Minton, one of the producers at Warner Brothers. He produces the Sylvester and Tweety show.
I had a Charlie Dog scene in there, and Bruce thought it would be funnier to go
Shane
with.
mentioned that scene, too.
Oh, this one, the hair ribbon scene?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It turned out to be perfect.
That's
perfect
great.
choice. So thank you, Tom Minton.
Yes.
Someone knows, I'll give you that.
And here we're getting ready to go into our big flashback.
Not the real one.
One of the things that happened, interesting reaction from the fans when we first started doing Batman Beyond. There were fans of the original Batman animated series who just didn't want us to do Batman Beyond because they just love the original show so much. Well, they're fickle though. When we did the revamp, what we call the revamp episodes, the New Adventures of Batman and Superman on the WB, we changed all the character designs, made everything more graphic, and they were saying, oh, I like the old one better. And then when we did Batman Beyond, they said, no, I like the revamp episodes better. But as it turns out, most of these fans have come around to our way of thinking and appreciate Batman Beyond for what it is. But this is like a little treat for them. It's like, yeah, we'll revisit the Batman animated series world one more time. But so it's like, we can't help but feel a little bit nostalgic about this. It's cool just to see Robin again and to see Batgirl and Harley and all them.
We weren't done with these characters.
No. In a sense, we'll never be done with them.
No.
I mean, even though we've been doing them for like 10 years, there just always seems to be, new wrinkles and new stories we can tell about them. But
That evens things up a little.
Not really,
look out. Yeah, this whole sequence coming up is
Bob boarded this whole sequence.
Bob Smith, yeah.
You did some of this too, right, Bruce?
Just this little montage right here. This
Bruce.
is all I did right here. Just as a little bridge. I think originally Bob had something either really elaborate or something really too simple, or
I
can't
think it
remember what
was to the script, but it was like going to
at one
the
point, Batman beats up the penguin.
Penguin Slayer.
Right. Yeah,
it was
a
like
detour.
20, 30 pages or something.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, it was a tangent we didn't need to go off onto.
We were sent an invitation.
This is a nice bit. It's always kind of neat when you can actually just do something without music for a short little while. It just kind of like reestablishes a realistic mood. So that sequence opens with just the rain. It's like kind of gloomy and real sounding.
I like the sound effects on this scene. The
Yeah.
fireworks going off in the background.
Yep, another one of our unsung heroes on this project is Robert Hargreaves, our sound designer. Rob's been with us actually almost from the very beginning, but he took over as our main sound guy, I think with Superman and the Superman series, and he's been doing that ever since, and he's just great. I mean, this movie sounds like a feature film. It doesn't just sound like a cartoon. I mean,
Rob and
he's
Tom did
awesome.
a great job.
Yeah.
This sequence here sounds really creepy because there's nothing but the
Just
rain
the
and
singing.
the
Yeah.
singing in the distance.
Yeah, it's pretty creepy. Another thing we should mention is that when TMS actually did almost all of the, well, not all of them, but quite a lot of the background keys, background painting keys for the whole movie, and they actually painted all of the backgrounds in this movie digitally. There's not a single brushstroke on any one of the backgrounds. They're all painted in the computer, which is a first for us. And at first, when Glenn and I were going over it with them, we actually did not want them to do it because we didn't think it looked right. It didn't match the style that we'd established before. But after a lot of trial and error, they really nailed it, and they did a great job. One of the things that when we first started getting footage back from the Orient that we were concerned about was that overall the backgrounds were a little bit brighter than we would have liked. We usually like to put a lot of black for contrast in the backgrounds. But as it happens, we're actually glad that the backgrounds are a little bit brighter than we normally like, because the movie itself, the tone and the themes of it are kind of so dark that it's nice to have a little bit more brightness in the backgrounds to kind of take the curse off of the
It's an
the
interesting
overall gloom.
it's an interesting contrast here because the music is actually kind of fun and friendly, like very 50s sitcom-y, and it's a little brighter until the reveal in a few seconds.
When Chris and I were talking about doing the music for this sequence, he mentioned that he wanted to do something like that, and I said, okay, that's fine, but I was expecting it to be somehow a little bit darker, not quite so I Love Lucy. And so when the first time we heard this on the mixing stage, I thought, boy, I'm not really sure that works or not. But it works like gangbusters, because the minute he opens that curtain and reveals the Robin, the music does a really abrupt change to the really serious, twisted, dramatic stuff, and it's even more effective because it's this music has misdirected you. It's makes you think that the scene is going to go one way, and it actually goes quite a different way. This scene is
It's sick.
It's not sick. It's just it's
Now
okay,
for the nightmare.
Yeah. There's a weird little musical thing you'll hear throughout here. This is something that I don't know where Chris got the idea for this, but he actually put a kid's music box on top of an acoustic guitar, and that's what's creating that weird, creepy sound that you hear in the backgrounds here. Oh boy.
Yikes.
Oh, that's just wrong. Wrong.
I know, but it's
How
so
could we do
right.
it to Robin? I know, that's the weird thing. It's like, once we got this idea, it was just like, okay, yeah, that's the way to go with it. It's a horrible thing that the Joker has done here.
If you're really going to tell a story of a fight to the finish between Batman and the Joker, it has to be big, it has to be operatic, and it has to be
psychological.
final. Yes.
And that's what it is. Yeah, it's not enough just for him to build a bigger, sillier trap to put Batman in. He's got to do something really, really horrible, and he does. This is the most horrible thing he's ever done to Batman.
Yeah, and Harley too. Even though the fans like her and she's a fun character, usually she's committed something unholy here, and she deserves to get the stuffing knocked out of her.
Oh yeah.
But what was your explanation about it the other day? About Robin is a junior version of Batman.
Well, right. Yeah, this is like the worst thing that the Joker could do to Batman.
It's worse than killing him.
Yeah, it's basically Robin is a junior version of Batman, or he's like Batman's son, and he's turned him into, the Joker's son. He's turned him into a mockery of what he was. So it's horrible. It's a horrible, horrible thing.
And the fact that she helped him just, because it was fun, or, makes her just as bad, if not worse.
But it's Joker taking away Batman's family, too.
Right.
Yeah.
Sure.
Just for a laugh.
Batman trying to rebuild his family, and then...
Yeah, there's all sorts of thematic stuff in there that just, it all comes to a head here. It's the worst thing the Joker could do to him. It's not necessarily kill him or Robin or Batgirl. It's turn them into what he is.
Though he plans to do that, too.
Oh, eventually, sure.
Okay, so he roughed the kid up a little, but I'll make it right. Yeah, you're mother of the stinking
Yeah,
gear.
this is a nice little sequence,
You'll
too.
see. We'll be one
Once
big
again, Bob Smith
happy family.
storyboarded almost this entire sequence. And it's dynamite.
Creepy.
I should also mention, too, that all of little Junior Joker Robin's, all of his laughs, Matt Valencia, who plays young Robin for us, is a really, really talented, super young actor. He was our Robin in the last version of Batman that we had done on the WB. For one reason or another, we just weren't quite satisfied with his maniacal laughter as the brainwashed Robin, and so Andrea Romano, our voice director, actually went in and did all of his maniacal giggles, and she did a great job. Actually,
Harley.
really makes the sequence. Yeah,
Oh,
there we
I-
go.
Matt-
Oh boy, you should have seen Paul crying on the phone when Alan Burnett and I
Yeah.
told him he had to kill Harley.
Yeah, I was in a hotel room somewhere, and it's like, but no, I can't.
I mean, he was serious. He was like, "No, I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to kill Harley." We said,
Yeah.
"Paul, you have to. The story works that way. She can't survive."
I knew I had to.
And of
yeah.
course, Paul, puts in that scene at the very end where she comes
Wow.
back as the old lady. And of course, I love the scene. And Paul was thinking, "Oh, Bruce is going to make me take that scene out," but I loved it. I think it's great.
Cool.
Especially because at the end of this movie, everything has been so much. It's like, boy, we need a little laugh at the end. This sequence is really rough.
This is just wrong.
This is nightmarish.
This is Universal horror time and then some. It was like Hammer time, Hammer horror time.
Yeah. Oh boy.
Can we say what that originally said?
Originally his apron said "kill the cook" instead of "kiss the cook," and our friends at Home Video said, "Nah, can we take the word "kill" out?" It's like, oh yeah, sure, why not?
And that operating table was a little...
The operating table had more
Grislier.
surgical implements or instruments on it, and it actually made the scene a little bit too over the top scary, and so we replaced all of the real sharp, nasty stuff with silly things like plungers and cream cheese and bagels.
But this
is an awesome shot. This is an amazing shot, and especially once you hear it with the music and everything, it's so powerful. Chris did such a great job in the music. It's just,
Was
love
it
this.
boarded that way?
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
As the 360, yeah, sure.
I think it was Bruce's idea a little bit later in it, but it's a great idea, and
It was.
TMS could be the only one to really pull it off like that.
That's so great. The silhouette going to just his snarling face as he crashes through.
Oh, this is great. This is a sequence that we love just as animators because we know how difficult the scene is to pull off. But yeah, lit by the projector there, that's like, boy, that's awesome.
Sickest line in the whole thing.
Oh yeah,
Nice sound.
oh yeah, this is all great in here.
I'll break you in two.
Batman, if you had the guts for that kind of fun, you would have done it years ago. I, on the other hand... You've lost, Batman. Robin is mine. The last sound you hear will be our laughter. Here you go, sonny boy.
This is whew,
Make Daddy proud.
just wrong.
Deliver the punchline.
This shot right here where he just slowly raises the gun. Oh man, scary. And it's creepy that he's just laughing. He never says anything. He's just, this wide-eyed, gibbering little thing.
But he starts to break through here, break down a bit.
Do it!
Did it.
That's not funny. That's not...
forgive us, we're silent here just because we're like getting so caught up in it. It's like, oh my.
He had it coming.
Yeah, Andrea again just did a great job here, going from the laugh to the sobbing. Yeah, it really makes the scene really heartbreaking.
I'm sorry.
You're a sick man, Paul.
I know.
Get help.
I know.
We were working on this all the way up
Yeah.
until the end, though, right? Like, you changed this scene, added Batman
we
coming
added that
in,
shot.
the shadow.
Yeah. Well, there's always a little bit of fine tuning you have to do there, but fortunately the raw materials were 99% there. All we had to do is just tweak it a little bit here and there.
Yeah.
But boy, I could use another Bugs Bunny scene right about now.
Yeah, really.
Let's cut back to Ace watching cartoons. We need a joke.
I know.
Pretty exhausting.
It is. It's an emotional ringer, that's for sure. So what's next? Oh, he goes to see Tim. We revealed Tim Drake as an adult.
Yeah, numb to the whole thing now.
I know, it's true. You got all, it's like one big blur. Yakety yak.
Plot exposition, just for the fans.
It's nice to take a break after all that.
Yeah.
Go out and get some popcorn and go to the bathroom or something.
Yeah.
Actually, there's quite a few dialogue sequences in a row here. But it's fine, it works. Hopefully, if we've got the audience's attention at this point, we won't lose it at this point.
Mm-hmm.
Either that, or they've totally turned the movie off after sequence M, the Joker death scene.
Mm.
It looks okay on this side.
There's Dean Stockwell as adult Tim Drake. It's again one of those weird things that just happened. We didn't plan it this way, but as a lot of people know, Dean Stockwell was famous for a long time as a child actor in that movie, The Boy with the Green Hair. And in this movie, he plays an adult who at one point was a young boy with green hair.
Yep.
It's just one of those weird things. It's like we don't plan them, but it just happened. But yeah, it was a treat having Dean. We've been fans of his for a long time.
Yep.
And the David Lynch movies and stuff.
Barb told you the gory details?
More or less.
Look, it's been almost 40 years.
Just to mention, this part here was done by Mr. Masuda in Japan, and he's also the animator in charge, the director in charge of all the animation, and so he played a major part in it. And this is a simple part, and he actually did some great sections of the board. But
yeah, he did the whole fight at the party earlier on, the rooftop party, and actually, unfortunately, he storyboarded two sequences that we cut out for time. He did this one really great sequence where Bruce, in present-day Gotham, goes and visits the ruins of Arkham Asylum and makes a grim discovery there. And it was a really neat scene. It was almost completely silent and moody, and we unfortunately had to cut it for time because it was one of the few sequences that we could cut without really disrupting the story flow. So you don't miss it if it's not there. But it was a really, really nice sequence. We would have loved to have kept it in.
He boarded another scene with Price, too, that was...
Yeah, a little dialogue scene. I think he also boarded this section,
and
too,
even
didn't
this
he?
sequence also.
Yeah.
Caviar, soft music, and charming company. Amy, my dear, I can't think of any better way to celebrate my ascension to CEO of Wayne Enterprises.
Me neither. Me neither.
You? Where's Amy?
Missed the boat, I'm afraid.
Turn the yacht around!
Detox, boss man. We're here to talk business.
We'll be quick. Wolf gets seasick easy.
Frank Welker.
Frank Welker, one of the busiest men in Hollywood. He's a really, really super talented voiceover actor. He's in not just every cartoon ever made, but most live-action movies. If any live-action motion picture calls for a dog or a monkey or a cat that has to do anything out of the ordinary, if it has to do some kind of specialty thing or whatever, Frank is more than likely doing the voice of the animal. For instance, he was a little monkey in Raiders of the Lost Ark that does this little sea guile thing. He was in Turner and Hooch. He's constantly working. Mm-hmm. He's one of the few guys who can actually mimic almost any animal sound, but then also make them act, and convincingly, not cartoonily. But he also does great cartoon voices as well. and just about the nicest guy in Hollywood too.
Yep.
Then Amscray pronto, kiddies.
So we're gonna blow up the boat.
Things are going to start popping.
Let's go!
No one's leaving until I get answers.
No, you idiot! Not now!
This is a nice little sequence, sound design wise. Rob really went to town on all of the explosions, but best heard on a surround sound home system, but hopefully even on just a regular stereo mix it'll sound great. But there's some bottom end on that explosion when the boat goes up that you can actually feel it in your guts. So, oh boy. Yeah, once again, gotta credit TMS for the wonderful work they did on this movie. They just brought such a spectacular level of production value to the entire production. I mean, the animation, the character animation is real lively and fluid. Their effects work is, just top notch, just amazing.
People don't realize how hard it is to blow stuff up in animation.
Oh, sure, that's really true. That's absolutely true.
Or animate water, things like that.
Yeah, it's some of the toughest stuff you can do, and they do it just
They're
an
the
amazing
best.
job. They are the best. So thank you, Mr. Masuda. Thank you, Mr. Aoyama. And the entire crew.
Yep.
Yeah, they did just an awesome job. I mean, that's the one thing. It's like, again, I'm so close to the movie, so I can't really tell how everything's really working overall and what an audience is going to think of it. But what, the guy saluting?
The guy saluting back.
I know, it's really funny. But I think just in terms of just production value, I think this is probably the best thing that we've ever done.
Yeah.
I mean, it's better than Mask of the Phantasm or any of the TV episodes. I mean, it's just awesome.
Well, they got the computer cleaned off quick. Scrubbed all the...
Oh, that's right. I didn't even think about that.
Ha-has and everything.
Huh.
Oops.
Oh, well.
That's all right.
Good.
Barbara
cleanser.
did that.
It's rarely that simple.
Yeah, but he left the cases all smashed and destroyed.
Yeah.
That's a plot point.
How are you feeling?
Lousy.
Gordon told me what happened to Tim Drake.
That's why I didn't want you going up against the Joker. Imposter or not.
Nothing against your old partners, but I'm a completely different Batman. I was never a Robin. I never...
That was a great shot that we put into the trailer. We cut together a short trailer to bring down to the San Diego Comic Book Convention to show to the fans. Just a little teaser trailer to show them a little bit of a hint of what the movie was like. And we put that shot in there just to fan the flames even more, to like lead the audience to think that we've killed Robin.
Yeah.
But yeah, we're not above any dirty trick. Anything we can do to misdirect you.
Yeah.
And it worked like gangbusters. All the comments on the internet after the con were, "Oh, did you see that shot? I think they killed Robin in the movie."
Yeah, they electrocuted him. Well, yes and no.
Yeah.
Satellite jamming system. Whoever uses this...
Fans will probably have even more questions after they've seen this.
Oh, sure.
Some answers, but more
yeah.
questions.
They love to get into the ins and outs and the soap opera of the characters,
Yeah. As do we. I mean, that's why we're doing this.
Oh, we were talking about that just the other day. It's like, we're trying to anticipate what the fans are going to talk about, on the internet afterwards. They'll say, "Well, how could Batman and Batgirl have spent 3 weeks looking for Robin? How could they have not have found him in that time?" But they will say things like that.
Yeah.
God, I love our fans.
Yep.
They're really into the show.
Yeah. God bless them.
What happened to leaving it to the cops?
Of course, they're going to be mad that we didn't explain what happened to Nightwing. They'll say, "What? One little line? That's all? That's all you're going to give us?"
2 little lines. Well.
Yeah.
Mr. Aoyama?
I think Mr. Masuda still did this section. I think Mr. Aoyama basically did just the whole...
No, I think he
Did he start here?
I think he
Oh, you're right. He
boarded
did
the-
start here.
Yeah,
Yep, you're
that's
right.
right.
Yep. Yeah, Mr. Aoyama, again, he goes back with us for a long time. He actually was one of the main animators on the Clayface episode of the original Batman the Animated Series.
I didn't know that.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, he did like almost all the Clayface stuff. And again, when we did the Batman and Superman Adventures that the TMS actually directed and animated some of those shows, Mr. Aoyama was one of our directors on that. and he's again. I think he did most of the key animation on this sequence from here on in to the end of the destruction of Gotham sequence. And what's interesting is that this sequence will remind sharp-eyed fans in the audience of a similar sequence in the Japanese animation classic Akira. And what's very odd about that is that as a very young man, Mr. Aoyama actually animated that sequence in Akira. And so he found this to be a challenge to, 15 years later to see if he could top what he had done in Akira. And it's not for me to say whether he did or not, but he sure did a great job of destroying the city on this movie.
I think so.
I mean, just even little touches like that, like these pink laser beams. It's the kind of thing that we didn't call for them to do it that way. We left a lot of the effects work up to them because they just excel at it so well. And it's a really weird little touch, but it's great. It's something that we wouldn't have thought of. And their effects are awesome here. The cutting, everything. Okay, let's go blow up the town.
Yeah. Now the fun.
Now the fun begins. I hasten to point out that every single building that is destroyed in the sequence is unoccupied.
Yeah, it's night. Everybody's gone home.
Everybody's gone home. It's in the special empty section of town.
Mm-hmm. There's no one driving in those cars.
No one's driving in those cars.
The cleaning crews are on
cars.
break. Yeah, from all the buildings.
That's something that I wish we had pointed out a little bit better, the Jolly Jack, because we never even did like a close-up of the Jolly Jack in the background or something. It's just like the audience is going to be thinking, well, how did he pick up on Jolly Jack?
There was supposed to be something when he does the first transmission of he's eating some candy that has Jolly Jack on the jar, but that didn't make it into the shot. Glenn pointed out that the word Jolly is sort of seen on the candy bar.
Yeah, on the candy bar car, yeah.
So at this point, he's sort of piecing it together based on what he's seen before.
Oh, well, the movie's racing along so fast you don't have time to think about things like that, hopefully. Here it goes. Oh, wow, look at that. Blows up real good. And the thing is we've known, again, just in the past from working with TMS, that they just do spectacular effects, but they even top themselves here. I mean, this is some of the most amazing effects animation I've ever seen.
Yeah, that's amazing.
I mean, it's like, wow. And the timing of it and everything, it's just, boy.
Oh, this is great.
Oh, this is horrible.
Oh, the parking lot.
Now, those are empty cars.
Those are abandoned cars, yeah.
Look, there's no one in those cars.
Look at that.
I know. It's awesome. Oh, but look at all those people in the fountain.
Oh, they got out of the way.
They moved real quick.
Yeah, they jumped.
No one in this building.
No.
And I'm sure a lot of people think this is done with computers too, but it's...
No, it's all hand animation. I mean, it's the computer is used to ink and paint it and photograph it, basically. They use the computer just as basically a real super deluxe camera. But yeah, all of the effects you're looking at are all drawn by hand. So, wow.
Just even little effects like the car firing and going into the distance, it all's just so good. Name of the candy factory, a little tribute to Jack Kirby there. Jolly Jack Kirby.
Oh.
There's a lot of bazookas in this movie.
Another section done by Mr. Masuda. One of the better ones.
Really, he did this bit?
Yeah, I believe so.
It goes back to Mr. Aoyama.
Yeah, they do
inside,
switch
right?
back and forth.
Yeah, I can't remember.
Yeah, I remember Mr. Aoyama did all the stuff between Terry and the Joker inside.
Yeah.
Ace. I think. Well, who knows? For some reason, I remember this being Mr. Aoyama, but you could be right, Kurt. I don't know.
Was this scene longer?
Not much.
It still is longer.
Got to credit Evan Dorkin and Zara Dyer with that line. They put it in one of the earlier scripts. It always seemed to fit for Ace.
Which line?
Good Bad Dog.
Oh, right. That's actually from...
Splicers.
Splicers, right.
Great animation.
Mm-hmm. Really lively.
They're so cool.
It's him.
Yeah, the bit where they're trying to stay up on top of the gumballs it's great. I mean, it's real simple how they did it. You'll see there's an animation cycle. They basically run in place. They repeat the same drawings over and over again, but they know when to do that, and they know when to put in a new drawing, and the timing of it is flawless. Oh, boy, they're just great.
Just a lot of subtlety.
Yeah. We can't thank them enough, because they did this under real tight deadline pressure.
Great background.
Yeah, when you think of all the different hideouts, all the toy factories, all the amusement parks we've done in every Joker story, you know, when we came up with the Candy Factory, Ted just gave us something completely different.
But it's very reminiscent of the Batman the Animated Series, because it has his distinct design stamp on those weird faces and stuff. I mean, it's really cool to see this stuff again. It's like I kind of didn't realize how much I missed Ted.
Mm-hmm.
Joker?
Drop the act. I know you're working with him.
No, Joker's gone. I don't know where
It's interesting, Glenn pointed out the other day when we were watching this, that when Tim actually transforms into the Joker, it's not a real special effects type scene. It's not like the howling or anything. You know, his face isn't distorting or anything. It's really like an old-fashioned movie, you know, transformation. It's like it's all done with cuts and misdirection, and it's very simple. But again, it works great because there's so much else in this movie that you didn't need any more pain.
I killed him. I didn't mean to. I tried so hard to forget, but I still hear the shot. Still see his dead smile. Every night the dreams get stronger. He's there when I sleep, whispering, laughing,
And
telling
Dean's
me I'm
great
just
in
as
this scene.
bad as he is. We're both the same.
I'm calling an ambulance.
No, I'm all right. Forgive me, Terry. Old nasty memories twisting inside me like bad oysters.
That's my favorite weird line in the movie. Everybody comments on it. Twisting inside me like bad oysters. What does that mean?
We all know about bad oysters, I guess.
It's the idea that, you know, he is the Joker at that point, but he's still trying to sound sort of normal, but the wackiness is asserting itself. And it almost sounds like a normal line until you hear bad oysters, and it's like, what? And it's at that point, that's the tip-off. It's the Joker in control at that point.
Well, that's what I thought.
But it's weird even for the Joker. I mean, it's like a Marlon Brando line from Apocalypse Now or something. You know, it's like, what does that mean exactly?
Yeah.
I wanted to pull my teeth out. I don't know what I wanted to do.
Twisting inside me like bad oysters.
Oh, I never get tired of that.
Drake? You're the Joker?
That flabby oaf doesn't even realize I'm using him as a timeshare. Beneath this puckish exterior lies the mind of a genius, years ahead of my time. In the weeks young Robin was under my tutelage, I used him as
Look how buff that Joker is. That was also another challenge on this movie, was coming up with a new Joker design, because we've done, actually, this is our third major Joker design, because we designed him for the original series, and then we redesigned him for the New Adventures, and then doing him for this, he needed to have a whole completely different look, and something that was futuristic but still Joker-like. And boy, we went back and forth on that for a lot. And then one day, Glenn and James Tucker, one of our other artists, and I were sitting in my room one night, and I was just sketching him. And I think Hannibal had just come out, the Thomas Harris book. Mm-hmm. And we were talking about that as I was sketching, and I started thinking more and more of like Hannibal Lecter as I was drawing the Joker, and that's where I gave him the slick back hair and the red eyes, and kind of that scary posture. And it just kind of just happened. It was just like, you know, fortunately, as we were talking, it just like, oh, there he was. And I had reservations about it because the suit itself doesn't really look anything Joker-like. There's nothing clown-like about it. I suppose it could be like a mime outfit or something, if you really stretch your imagination. But so I kept wanting to put like a lapel or something on him, and Glenn and James both kept saying, no, just leave it as it is. It's fine. And I like it. But it is odd that he doesn't really have any kind of Joker motif about him outside of his
Joker
makeup.
Beyond.
Yeah, he's Joker Beyond. Yeah, it's just as Batman is. Yeah.
The first thing I thought of was the Cabinet of Dr. Caligari. It looks like the somnambulist, the creepy,
Cesare.
Yeah, creepy sleepwalker guy.
Yeah.
With the big Frankenstein hands.
Yeah, the hands are definitely an homage to Boris Karloff Frankenstein. I'm a huge Boris Karloff fan, so that's why he's got the big black nails and the big wide fingers, or strangler's hands. But,
looks great.
point must be stately Wayne Manor. Gone in a flash.
Yeah, Mark's awesome, and the way he's animated here, Mr. Aoyama just did a great job on all of his poses and everything. I mean, he's terrific.
I'll be hitting those other spots soon enough.
Mom's house.
I guess I should salute you as a worthy adversary and all that, but the truth is, I really did hate your guts. What about it, kid? Any last words for the old bat fart?
Yeah, sick 'em. Ace, here. Attaboy.
Joker finally gets to beat up Batman.
Yep. Ow! Don't hurt the dog. But he's a tough old dog.
Dog was something we wanted from the very beginning too. Way back then.
Now here's a question though: what is Ace doing from this point until the very end?
Knocked out and recovering.
No, he didn't get knocked out.
He's
not feeling too well.
Well, okay. He's trying to get out of there.
Yeah.
Said enough of this. Let these guys kill each other. I'm out of here.
He knows the beam is coming and he wants out.
Yeah, he's passed out.
I think he found a video monitor with a Cartoon Network on it and just watched more cartoons. Yeah, it's hard to keep track of all the stuff when you're doing a sequence like this. It's like, oh yeah, we forgot. What happened to Ace? Why isn't he attacking?
I just thought he was stunned or out of it or wounded or something.
Again, this is something that hopefully the audience won't think about as they're watching it. Hopefully they'll forget about it just as we did.
They might now.
No.
We should just cut over to Ace just eating some candy, you know. Something spilled and he's just eating it.
Maybe, but you don't know a thing about me.
You? What's to know? You're a punk, a rank amateur.
Yeah, coming up here, this is the biggest gamble in the entire movie. Everything has been like bigger and better action scene, and then the end of the movie is Batman trying to, well, it's not a fist fight.
It's mind games.
It starts as a fist fight, and it just becomes Batman trying to bore the Joker to death. And, it becomes a Jim Thompson novel all of a sudden. But so we'll see if an audience finds it satisfying or not. I mean, I can't tell. I mean, I think it works. I've talked to a number of other people who worked on the movie, Rob Hargreaves and Joe Gall, and they think it's great that we, instead of just doing a bigger, set piece at the end, that we went for psychological. But it's odd. It's an odd thing.
Well, it's like the Joker has nothing but contempt for Terry and says so.
Sure.
Because he's fixated on the old Batman and Robin, and he thinks that Terry is going to behave that way. And Terry is a punk, and he does fight dirty, and he does wise-ass the Joker, or just make fun of him and taunt him. And the Joker's never had to deal with that from Batman before. Mm-hmm. It unnerves him when somebody's funnier than he is. Like in the old series, when Harley would get a laugh, it would just enrage him. So.
Yeah.
Well, when we were talking about the story, I remember saying, well, this guy wouldn't do things like Bruce.
Right.
We were trying to figure out how would Terry deal with the situation. Mm-hmm. This is Terry's story.
Mm-hmm.
The real Batman never talked to you much, did he? That's probably why you were so fixated on it.
Don't play psychoanalyst with me.
I mean, it's certainly unexpected. Mm-hmm. It's not what you expect us to do.
Well, I think it's a good balance. That he does get into the Joker's head, and he does unnerve him with the one thing that possibly can unnerve him, and yet we do have a lot of action and going, and the beam is coming, so there is excitement among
the beam is still bigger than life. And
it's Tim. He can't hurt him.
Yeah.
Right. I know that was always a problem too. It's like, he can't just drive a stake through his heart. Yeah, because it's Tim's body he's in. So it actually does work out very well. I'm glad that Terry at the end doesn't just beat the pudding out of him. He actually uses his brains and uses the joy buzzer to zap the microchip. I mean, it's actually really clever. So I like. Don't get me wrong. I love the ending. It's just I don't know what an audience.
And
is
it's original.
It's
definitely different.
It's very comic booky in a good way, where you can actually read in a comic book, a little bit more between the lines. So it's trying to balance that a little bit here to give them a little bit of a resonance. At least it's better than them saying, "Surrender, Joker." Says you.
Right.
Or just beating him up.
Yeah.
Right. Or pushing him off the top of a tall building or something, which Mark Hamill loves to point out. We always do that with the Joker.
He's not going to climb up real high again, is he?
He just hates doing those long screams down to the pavement.
I can't believe how good this animation is.
No, it's awesome. Yeah. It's great. Yeah, the last drawings here in this little scene. That's
that.
scary. And here too. What? Look at that.
Oh, that's
Look
great.
how three-dimensional he looks. It's like, boy.
I like that shot of Terry too.
Margaret Hamilton. Watch real closely here. There's a couple Tim heads when Joker's transforming here. There's like 2 of them. There he goes. There's another one. You see his nose change shape. Yeah. You have to like freeze frame it to actually see it, but that's an amazing shot. Gotta put the mask back on.
Look at how fast it goes on.
Yeah, fortunately, everything does still blow up real good at the end. There was a sequence in here which we cut before it was animated of the cops showing up and rounding up all of the Jokers outside, which we had to cut for time. But you'll see at the end here, and the last explosion shot, there is a group of cops and people down below the building, which are left over from that sequence, which we, for one reason or other, forgot to take out of that shot. But so they're standing there getting shrapnel all over the place.
Yeah, real
probably.
close.
Yeah, real close to the explosion. Yeah, keep your eye on the nose. Whoa! It's in 3D.
Right.
It's like, gee, can they top themselves with their explosions? Yes, they can.
I like that the police aren't even ducking or anything.
Yeah. They're just like, woohoo! Yeah! We do not know how they did that shot of the Earth. It's not really CGI. I have a feeling they were using a painting and just, putting it on a tilt in the computer.
Why does the satellite float away?
I don't know. I wish the satellite didn't float away. I for some reason, I didn't think it was going to do that, but it's okay. Those are great drawings. Look at that. Awesome.
Little scamps.
I still say that looks like you.
You think it looks like me? Kinda. Her forehead's not tall enough.
When we recorded this bit, Arlene Sorkin's mom had come with her that day, and we thought, hey, let's put her on mic and have her do the old Harley voice. But she didn't really sound like Harley, so that didn't happen.
Arlene did it. Yeah, I'm glad. That was the thing when we first found out that we were long. That was the first thing Alan Burnett said. He said, well, if you have to cut something, cut that Harley scene. Because the movie's over at that point. Just get to the end. And I thought, no, we really need to laugh at that point. So we kept it in. I'm glad we did.
Yep.
Because all this stuff is still more boo-hoo seriousness.
You wanted to add that Dana scene, too?
Yeah, we wanted to show Dana in the hospital after Terry left Tim's room. We actually thought of that while we were in the Orient. We wanted to put in a line after he meets with Bruce saying, well, I'm going to go check in on Dana or something, but just didn't have time for it.
Yeah.
So we're assuming she survived.
Yeah.
No matter how much they might feel it in their heart.
I know.
Just a nice little bit.
It's where I should be.
Now, Paul originally had reservations about how we staged the scene. He thought we should have milked the drama of Bruce and Tim seeing each other eye to eye for the first time in many, many years. But I will go on record as saying I disagree with him. I think the way this scene is staged is absolutely correct because their vocal performances are so good. And not only that, but the thing is, the point of view would be wrong because this is Terry's story. It's not really Bruce's story.
Yes, you're absolutely right. When I saw it animated, it
I mean, it actually gets me choked up.
Yeah, it's all you need.
And considering that Dean and Kevin weren't in the same room at the same time, recorded their lines separately, it's amazing that they're both exactly on the same, emotional keel.
Now, this shot was supposed to be in the first shot.
Oh, that background. That was one of our key backgrounds that we designed for the movie.
Start shot, yeah.
We had to cut it for time, but we did reuse it quite often.
Yeah, got a lot of mileage.
But it was supposed to be at the front and at the end.
Yeah.
Right.
That's it.
Nice. Boy, I hope we credited everybody that we wanted to. We'll credit them as we see their names. Will did a great job. Kevin did a great job. Mark, wonderful as always. Angie, Dean.
Yep.
Oh, they're going too fast.
Arlene, Melissa Joan Hart, Rachel E. Cook,
Tara Strong.
Tom.
Used to be Tara Charandoff, and now Tara Strong, recently married. Nice having her back again. Ted.
Shane.
And everybody else. Well, that was fun.
Yeah, that was good. We did mention Alan Burnett, didn't we?
I mentioned him at the very, very end there, yeah.
Oh, okay, great. He said,
wanted to cut that
was the
thing.
last thing he said before I came over. Is like, make sure you mention me 3 or 4 times. So, Alan Burnett. There you go.
Alan Burnett, of course, one of our key players on all of our Batman the Animated Series that we've done from 1990 on. It's his own fault. He could have been here with us, but no.
No.
So, but he did give us a really invaluable story input on the script and every step of the way. Glenn always calls him the glue.
Yeah.
Paul and I and Glenn, we all have our own little agendas and have a tendency to go overboard and, whatever. Alan is always the voice of reason in a sea of
Alan's
confusion.
the fair beetle.
Yes, that's right.
Kind of makes the judgment call.
So who'd that make him, George?
I think so. Yeah, deep into karma and everything.
So I guess that makes me the Ringo.
Well, I don't know. I suppose.
I have my Ringo days. I think we should switch off Ringo.
I'm Pete Best. Well, I guess that's it.
Yeah, 3 Ringos and a George. Sorry, Ringo, if you're watching.
Really,
Submarine.
No disrespect intended.
That's a great name for a band.
3 Ringos and a George.
That's a good name.
Yeah.
Gabriel Moses. He's somebody that you guys don't even know who he is. He's been our lead guitar player on almost all of the Batman the Animated Series episodes and on this as well. He's a brilliant young guitarist, prodigy guy.
Yeah. All the musicians.
Our production coordinators, McGregor,
yes,
Mac, Sal, and AJ. We couldn't do any of this without them.
And let's not forget Sean McLaughlin, who fought the good fight every step of the way on this video.
Yeah, he usually gets to play bad cop.
Mm.
But he's really a sweetheart. Andy Lewis, thank you for giving us more money.
Yes. Gene, thank you for hiring us.